What's going on, everybody? I'm joined again for the third time with Fernando and his orange Miami Dolphins hat. It is becoming more famous than anything around here. Thanks
How
for
we
joining.
doing?
Oh, man, we're doing good, man. We're just going to do a recap of the 2020 NFL draft. We're going to talk about the Dolphins, of course, because we did a video, about the pre-draft, about the Dolphins, what we wanted the Dolphins to do. We did a mock draft as well. And, we're going to talk about not only the Miami Dolphins and what they did in the draft, what we like, we didn't like, various questions. But we're going to talk about the NFL in general because it was a very exciting draft. It was a very unique draft. And so before I unleash it to you, for you to give me all your wisdom here, let's talk quickly about the Dolphins draft here. The Dolphins went to the draft with a lot of draft picks, and they ended up drafting 11 players. They finally got their quarterback in Tua. I mean, great. He fell to number
How?
5. Awesome.
Hey, let me just stop you right there. How excited! I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I was here sweating bullets, screaming at the TV. Hey, pick one, we already knew it was Burrow. Pick two, we knew it was gonna be Young. Pick three was the most exciting pick because we're like, hey, are the Chargers, are the Patriots, are they gonna trade up? So the whole time we're just looking there. Lions are on the clock. Lions
Yeah.
on the clock. Lions on the clock.
Yeah.
The clock was ticking, and it kept saying Lions. And when it said Lions, the pick is in. I'm like, we're good. We're good. We're good. Got a little nervous when the Giants at 4, and then once I knew the Giants picked, I'm like, there's no way we're gonna mess this up. I knew as soon as Roger Goodell said took, I was screaming. I'm saying hallelujah. It doesn't matter what the Dolphins did from there. We got our quarterback. We needed it. It does matter what we did from there, but they didn't mess up pick 5.
All right. So at the 5th pick, they got Tua. They got 3 offensive linemen, one in the 1st, 2nd, and 4th round. One receiver in the 7th round. Okay, I mean, who knows whether he's going to make the team? We don't know. It is what it is. They got the defensive tackle, 2 defensive ends, a corner that they got in the 1st round, a safety, and a long snapper for some reason. Not sure why they got long snapper, but, it's one of those picks. So before I unleash it to you, I'm just going to give my quick observation about the draft. The Dolphins hit it out of the park. They did. They stuck to their plan, and it showed. They got Tua. They got him a 1st-round talent in an offensive tackle in Austin Jackson. The cornerback pick at number 26 that they ended up dropping back to number 30, picking up a 4th-round pick that they didn't have in the first place that they got from Green Bay, and they turned that 4th-round pick into another offensive lineman. I mean, it was a great draft by the Dolphins all around. The cornerback pick at pick number 30 was a little bit of a head scratcher because they got Byron Jones, they got Xavier Howard there. They possibly want him to fill the slot, or maybe in case one of them get hurt, maybe it's like an insurance pick, maybe. However, I thought the defensive tackle pick at that they got in Raekwon Davis. I mean, I thought that was a great pick to play alongside Christian Wilkinson from Clemson that they wanted their 1st-rounder last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And, I think that's going to be formidable right there. They got another big behemoth of an offensive lineman in the 2nd round. They built a line not only in free agency, but through the draft as well. And you can see what their plan was. Their plan was to build it from the inside out. And that's exactly, that's a championship, recipe right there. Building the trenches. You got your defensive linemen, your tackles, your 2 defensive ends. Not only what you got in free agency, but what you got in the draft. Now you're deep at those positions. You got depth at those positions. You got a trade with Matt Breida that you traded a 5th-rounder for. You need a running back. You got him paired up with Jordan Howard. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch right there. So I thought they knocked it out of the park. The only questionable one, a long snapper in the 6th round. I mean, you could have get him in the 7th round or in free agency, but overall they got an A from me, and you know, Fernando, what did you think?
Hey, man, you're speaking my language over here, my friend. You're speaking my language. I'm about to drop the panties for you, dude. This is what I love, man. Hey, the Dolphins hit it out the park, man. Hey, look, Austin Jackson is young, but has the body, has the mentality. You can tell he's selfless. We spoke about him in our first video. You know, he donated the bone marrow to his little sister in July. Missed all of training camp, and his best football is ahead of him. So, hey, we missed out on the top 4 guys. We couldn't trade up to get in front of Tampa Bay to get one of the top 4 offensive tackles. But Austin Jackson has the best potential, and he could honestly become one of the best offensive line. He's only 20 years old. He's only 20 years old, and his best football is ahead of him. Obviously, Tua, in my opinion, best quarterback in the draft. The only questions with him is his injury history. So, I mean, if we're gonna draft Tua, what are we gonna do? We're gonna build a huge wall in front of him, and and protect our valued pick. So what do we get? We got Austin Jackson at 18. We picked up Robert Hunt. Have you seen this guy's film? He is ridiculous. He's playing tackle in college. He's most likely going to move inside the guard. You see him pulling all over the place. Yes, he's playing in the Sun Belt Conference, but it's still Division I football. You can teach him. He's going to learn. The training camp is going to be a little rough for him in the first couple of weeks, but when he gets used to the speed, the size of the game, he's all in. He's most likely going to be our starting right guard when it all comes down. Raekwon Davis. The Raekwon Davis pick is amazing. To get that kind of value at the second round that guy was projected to be in the top 20 if he would have came out last year. He came back. Nick Saban raves about him and his leadership. Hey, 6'6", 311. You could not teach the size. Now, I will be honest with you. I do have an inside source. I know that before pick 30, the Dolphins really wanted Cesar Ruiz.
Right.
But the Saints came in, they got him. What did they get? They got a corner who is completely raw. He has all the skills. Both his parents are Olympians, over 6 feet. He runs in the 4.4s. What does that remind you of? That's Xavier Howard. That's Xavier Howard. That's Byron Jones. You have 3 of the same guys in running corner. Hey, it's gonna be press man all day. At the end of the day, Coach Flores started as a DB coach. He played DB. He is going to teach this guy to play NFL football, man. We're going to have 3 elite corners. Flores, blitz all day. It's going to be blitz all day, man coverage in the back, mano a mano. And this guy, he's has the potential to be great. Now, what's scaring me is that on Xavier Howard's Instagram, he deleted all of his posts when this draft happened. So, I hope another Minka trade doesn't happen, Laramie Tunzel trade doesn't happen, but we'll see what happens there. If you move forward on the draft, that 3rd round pick of Brandon Jones at safety, man, he was their captain. He was their playmaker. He was playing everything as safety. If you see Brian Flores and Greer have a mentality, they know what they want in their defense. They know what they want in the players that they're choosing are all pretty much alike. They're all big, they're all physical, they're all fast, and they're not scared to tackle, which scares me a little bit for Brian McCain. He's a little small. He's a little timid when it comes to tackling. That might be our first surprise cut when training camp comes. But Brandon Jones, I like him at the University of Texas. I know it's been a while since they put out a really good DB, but Brandon Jones might be a really good pick. I love us trading the pick that we got from Green Bay and our pick to trade up for the lineman that they wanted. Solomon Kinley from the University of Georgia. He's from Florida. He's from the Duval area. They call him the Big Fish because he was a lifeguard. He is a load, a monster. He's 6'5", 340 pounds, mauling guys. He played injured last year, so his 2019 tape is not as good as his 2018 tape, but he is a mauler. And if you see the lineman that we got, 6'6", 340, 6'6", 320. Jesse Davis is big. Eric Flowers is powerful. Karras is from the Patriots. We're building this offensive line. Like you said, we're building it the right way from the inside out. We got our linemen, we have our offensive linemen, we have our defensive linemen. Don't forget in the offseason, we got Shaq Lawson, we got Ogba. We're building up the trenches. We are going to build this the correct way. Tua is not supposed to play this year. If Tua is playing this year, it's because Fitzpatrick got hurt. It's because Rosen is still trash. And it's because Tua is outplaying everybody. And Tua should not play. He should not play this year unless he is absolutely the guy. He comes into camp 100% healthy, and that's the only reason you cannot bench this guy, is that you cannot bench him. Like, we have to do everything possible to keep this guy on the bench and healthy. If he's healthy and good to go, and he's our best player, then we got to go with him. But this is the reason for this draft, the offensive line. Now, I'll tell you, before the Raekwon Davis pick, my insider told me the same thing. They had Cam Akers and they had J.K. Dobbins listed to that they would fall to that second pick. The draft comes, things happen. Cam Akers goes to the Rams. J.K. Dobbins goes one pick ahead of us. Yep. And we go with the next plan, which is Raekwon Davis, which is a great pickup, great for our defensive line. Gotcha, Wilkins, Raekwon Davis is not a bad rotation there. Add Ogba, add Lawson, add Zeisler to the rotation. We got a nice little rotation. We got depth now. We have competition for camp. But every Dolphin Twitter was all about, hey, where's our running back? Where's our running back? Where's our running back? Well, what do we do in the 5th round? We traded our 5th round pick, and we got Matt Breida. We got the lightning to our thunder with Jordan Howard. I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with this. I mean, it was great. This guy, Curtis Weaver, he has the most career sacks in the Mountain West. I know he was playing at Boise. He's not as athletic as you like, but he was a 5th round pick. Yes, we picked up a long snapper in the 6th round. But the stats on our long snapper from last year, he missed 6 tackles as a long snapper on special teams. There's 3 phases of football. There's offense, there's defense, and there's special teams. Man, a 6th round pick, I don't mind throwing that away to get a long snapper that we can have on the cheap for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years. This is LSU football called this guy Mr. Hype. They have videos on YouTube of this guy of just being hype. He's a long snapper, and he's there bringing energy to the team, to a national championship team, by the way. And he's in a family of long snappers. His brother was a long snapper. He trained with our long snapper. I'm okay with the pick, man. If you're talking about another starter in the 6th round, and our 7th round pick. Yeah. I mean, what's worse? I mean, what are you gonna get? And then our 7th round pick, Malcolm Perry out of Navy. Anybody who likes the Army-Navy game has obviously seen this guy play. He can play wide receiver. He can play running back. He can play quarterback. This is the Byron Jones. This is the Isaiah Simmons of offense. This guy can play it all. Obviously, he's super raw when it comes to everything. He's gonna need time. If we put him on the practice squad, someone else is gonna pick him up. So I would love to see him make the 53 roster and stay on the team so we can build him up and see what we can get from him. I would love to see him push Jakeem Grant, push Albert Wilson, push Isaiah Ford, try to get into that top 4 or 5 deep when it comes to the wide receiver group. I really like this kid. That's one kid that I'm going to root for when it comes to training camp. But definitely, I think, like you said, I think we hit it out of the park. They're not sexy picks. We didn't get the wide receiver. We didn't draft the top running back, but we built up. Football was built from the inside out. And obviously, we had to build the offensive line. We had to build our defensive line. And Coach Flores, end of the day, he's a DB coach. So obviously, Brandon Jones, and I don't want to butcher this kid's name. So we're just going to call him number 4 from Auburn.
Noah. Call him Noah.
Yeah, we'll just call him Noah. But I'm telling you, we got a nice player there, man. I'm telling you, I really love what the Dolphins did this offseason.
No, that's a great point you made there with some of the players there. one of the players that was a steal. And let's talk about the steal of the draft for the Dolphins here. Okay. Every team had a player fall to them at some point that they weren't expecting. All right. And in my opinion, in my viewpoint, I still couldn't believe this particular player was still there because in every mock draft that I had seen for the last few months, had this particular player late first round or somewhere in the second round, this player was supposed to be drafted. And he lasted all the way to the fifth round for some reason. Curtis Weaver, defensive end, Boise. I don't know how he was still there. And Dolphins picked him up along. They went back-to-back defensive end picks in the fifth round. And it's great because they could learn right behind Shaq Lawson, right behind Agba. They could learn. I mean, it's a great rotational. Let them get their feet wet throughout the season. They're not going to play that dominant role, but they're going to definitely contribute. And Curtis Weaver was a great steal.
Yeah, you want these guys to make the 53 so they can just keep learning. Even if they make it like to the practice squad, you just don't want them to get stolen to another squad when they're on the practice squad. But I mean, Curtis Weaver, even this guy from North Carolina, Strobridge, he's from Deerfield Beach as well. Like these guys, they know how to set the edge. Curtis Weaver was killing it with the sacks. I get it. That is the Mountain West. I get it that it's Boise. But I mean, Boise's put out talent in the league before, man. Like, I really like that Curtis Weaver pick, man. I can't believe he lasted to the fifth round. I'll tell you who, like, we didn't get him, and we had opportunities to get him, but I can't believe Josh Jones. Josh Jones fell to what, like the third, almost the fourth round. Like, you know? Yeah, so I mean,
you and I we were texting each other Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We kept texting each other. I'm like, okay, these are the few people that I thought the Dolphins would go after or would like for them, maybe target. And every time I kept talking about them, they kept getting picked. So I was like, I'm just gonna stop talking. I'm gonna stop texting. Like, I feel like the other teams are hacking my phone somehow because every time I text you, hey, you know what? Maybe this player here, that player here. Within a pick or two, that player gets picked. And I was like, oh, come on, man, really? So I was like, you know what? I didn't want to jinx that. They could have. I thought maybe the Dolphins would pick them up in the third round. They didn't go that way. It's fine. They had their. But Josh Jones was definitely one that fell. That I was a little bit surprised he fell that far.
Yeah. I really like our third round pick. I like Brandon Jones a lot, especially then I saw his story and it's even better than I thought. So and he comes from good pedigree when it comes to the University of Texas and their DBs. I really like it.
Yeah. So in this particular draft class, which one particular player, not Tua, not quarterback, which particular player do you think is going to have the most impact or contribute the most this upcoming season?
This upcoming season, like from our draft class, that's not Tua. Obviously, in this upcoming season, I think it's going to be Robert Hunt. I think Robert Hunt is going to come in to training camp ready to go. Like, I don't know if you've heard this guy's interviews with the Miami Dolphins.com. His interviews after getting drafted. This guy, he has the right mentality when it comes to offensive line. You can hurt people on the football field without going to jail. Like that's exactly the mentality you need to play football, or at least offensive line. You can literally hurt people and not go to prison for it. Like, he has the mentality you need. I think this guy is plug and play. That guy is going to be your right guard, maybe right tackle to start off the season. He's going to be the most impactful day one person. I think he's going to go in there they're all going to compete. Because now our offensive line, we have options. We have options now. Like, that's the best thing about this draft is Austin Jackson. Yeah, he's raw. Yeah, he's 20 years old, but he can compete. He can compete for the first starting job. It's going to be him. It's going to be Jesse Davis. They're going to compete. Maybe even Hunt might want to compete at tackle. It depends on what route they go. We have so many pieces now. Like back when it was just, you remember 3 years ago, we were there like, oh, Josh Sitton, 32-year-old Josh Sitton. We got him off the street. Go in there and play guard. And then he tears his pec muscle by the third quarter of the first game. And then we're screwed. Like, who else is going to come in? No, we have depth. If Hunt goes down, we have Kindley. We have Karras. Jones. We have Eric Flowers. We have Jesse Davis who can play guard or tackle. We have the players. We have now options. That's the biggest thing, is that we have depth. If somebody goes down, the level of play is not going to go here. The level of play might go here. But we can still continue with the boat. Injuries are going to happen. It's football. But now by building up the trenches, by getting these pieces that we need, we're a better football team.
Agreed. For me, I'm gonna go with the third round pick, the safety, and they didn't. I think the safety is gonna have it because they didn't really replace. This is their replacement in a sense for Minka Fitzpatrick. They're a little thin there in the safety position there. They brought in one safety. They brought the cornerback in, in the first round. So maybe between the line, the line that they built up on the defensive line and the three corners that they now have, maybe, safety, they can mask maybe the inexperience or what's the word I'm looking for? The lack of depth there at safety. And I think the safety position with that rotation and with Brandon Jones getting into there, he's going to get the beneficiary of such strong corners and such a strong defensive line, or much stronger. He's going to be the safety, whether it's him or the other safeties, are going to be the beneficiary of a lot of potential picks, pass breakups. They're just going to have a field day. They're going to be able to roam around instead of having to cover.
I like that pick, man. I think free safety is going to be a free-for-all. If we have training camp, I know today they were talking about that the NFL has a plan in place that they could start as late as October 15th. So that means training camp might be pushed back from August to September. So that means the NFL season would start in October. That would be no bye weeks, no Pro Bowl, straight to the Super Bowl. So we'll see what ends up happening. But free safety is going to be just like the offensive line. Free safety is going to be a free-for-all when it comes. Hey, you got to come in to work. You got to come in and battle for your spot. It's going to be Bobby McCain. It's going to be Brandon Jones. And it's going to be Adrian Colbert battling for that one spot. And I like Adrian Colbert. Obviously, he's from the U, so I would love to see him get it. Bobby McCain, he's one of our longest tenured Dolphins so far. But right. I mean, he's got to come out there and play. He's got to come play bigger than he is, because he's only like 5'9". Yeah, he could jump out the gym and stuff, but he's got to come out and do it. He's got to come out there and play. He's got to be physical, be able to stop the run. If he's the last line of defense, he's got to make the tackle. But free safety is going to be free safety and the offensive line are going to be the most intriguing battles if we have training camp this year.
I agree. So let's switch it up here and let's talk about the NFL in general. Any team but the Dolphins. We just spent a good amount of time on the Dolphins. So let's talk about another team or teams outside the Dolphins here. So which team or teams did you like their draft?
Okay. It's two teams in particular that stick out. All right. One is the Colts. The Colts traded their first round pick. They got the defensive tackle from San Fran. And what do they do in the second round? They pick up Michael Pittman and they pick up a running back, Jonathan Taylor. And I remember saying in this YouTube video with you the first, that Jonathan Taylor was going to be a top 10 fantasy football player next season. Not with the Colts, because now he has to split carries with Mac. So he kind of killed me there. Like I was like, no, why would you go to the Colts? But the Colts have become they already have the offensive line. Now they have Phillip Rivers, who can get the ball out to Michael Pittman, to T.Y. Hilton, to the receivers. And now he has the protection of probably the top offensive line in football. And now you're talking about two elite running backs when it comes to Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. The second team, the Denver Broncos. Oh, the Denver Broncos have so many weapons. Oh, my God. Philip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon. They got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. They got the kid from Penn State, the kid who runs for 4-2. But they have no quarterback. If you're John Elway, how are you not calling up Cam Newton right now? Come on, you really think?
That's where I disagree with you.
Compete. Cam Newton, come and compete against this kid, Drew Lock. during training camp and win you the job. If you don't win, you're the backup, but you need to come here and compete. How is that called not happening? How is he saying Drew Lock that's it? Drew Lock is my quarterback. How is that conversation? How is that going through his head? Cam Newton's right there. You have I do not understand how Cam Newton has not yet been signed to the Denver Broncos.
One of the teams that you picked, the Colts is a good pick because they definitely had a really good draft there. And they even got a quarterback, Jacob Easton, out of the quarterback from Washington.
Easton.
Yeah, and you know, because Phillip Rivers only 1 year contract, and Brissett only has 1 year left, and so now they have Brissett on a 3-4 whatever contract they signed him to. So they got somebody who could sit third string or whatever, and definitely learn behind them, and you know that's a win-win situation right there.
Yeah.
The other team, and this is the team that I was telling you about, the team that I had them draft a corner because the in our mock draft because all the receivers were already taken. But Denver Broncos, I said it in my mock draft. I would love to go receiver here to go opposite Cortland Sutton, but because they were all taken, I went a different direction. And what happened? The best receiver of the draft drops to 15, Jerry Jeudy.
Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh, I said that's going to be good. And then what do? They come around the second round and draft another receiver. I said, oh, Lord. They're trying to compete with Kansas City. You can see how many teams are trying to, you know what? If Kansas City is going to score 30-something a game, we got to score 30-something. We got to
go 30. We got to score 31.
Yeah, you got to score 31.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do. And Denver, I thought hit it out of the park with their draft there. And as much as you may not like it, and some of your friends on your group there may like it, I thought the New York Jets had a pretty good draft as well. I thought they did. And I thought getting Bryce Hall in the 5th round is the steal of the draft. I kept saying it. He was a first-round pick before he got hurt. I have no clue how he dropped to number 5 if all these teams were worried about the injury. They had the best value pick at number 5 in Bryce Hall. The Jets, listen, I don't think they had the top draft in my opinion, but, I mean, they had a really good draft.
All right. Let's not gas them up too much, but yeah, the Jets had a really good draft. The Jets had a really good draft. They got Becton, they got the receiver from Baylor, they got not just the kid from Virginia, they got that defensive end from Florida, Zuniga. He was leading the SEC in sacks before he got hurt, man. Hey, I don't want my Jets fans to hear it, man, but they had
a good draft.
They had a good draft. They had a good draft, man. I can't deny it.
I'm going to say one more team here. I'm going to say one more team because I thought what they did was smart. They didn't draft the one position that I thought they would have drafted in the first 2 rounds, but I thought what they did was smart. The Carolina Panthers taking all 7 picks on defense. In my opinion, that was smart. They got to shore up that defense one way or another. I thought that was smart.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Like they were last in stopping the run. I mean, they lost Kuechly. I mean, yeah, they definitely needed all their picks to go to the defensive side. They already have Kamara. They spend money on Robbie Anderson. We'll see what happens with Teddy Bridgewater. But no, I was hearing from some Carolina fans saying, "Hey, why are they taking Derrick Brown?" Oh, but then later on they see like what's going on, and they got the defensive end from Penn State, and hey. They had a really good draft. And, I'm not into grades and stuff like that because we're really not going to know how good our draft is until like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years later. I mean, everyone thought Deion Jordan was a hit. Oh, the Dolphins only had to trade a 3rd-round pick to move from 12 to 3 and got Deion Jordan. Oh, that's a steal. I can't believe he did it. Yeah, who knew the kid had a drug problem and was never going to touch the field? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to know, man. And especially this year, because we weren't able to get the interviews, doctors touching, I know the Dolphins were able to get in touch with the doctors, were able to get in touch with Tua and check him out and everything. But I mean, this was a weird year, and I know a lot of the people. Hey, draft was super great. Virtual. Everyone got to see. You got to see Belichick's dog, Flores' kids. I think Vrabel was great with his kids dressed up and stuff. Like, it was great, but they weren't able to get the access that they usually get when it comes to making this $1 million decision of getting drafted, drafting you. So they might have missed something. Like the players were able to hide a couple of things, so we really draft, Mel Kiper, ESPN today all day was giving grades and stuff. I'm not into that. Hey, we did what we had to do. We drafted what? Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, Kinley. So we drafted 3 offensive linemen. If one of those offensive linemen end up hitting and becoming a day one, I'm not talking about Hall of Famer. I'm not talking about Pro Bowler. I'm talking about these were, if one of them end up becoming a day-to-day starter and above average starter, then it's a success. It's a success. How many first-round busts do we talk about? Most of the league is made of players drafted from the 4th to the 7th round, and some undrafted players. So if we can get some starters, and we can get hit on a Tua and become a Hall of Famer, or Austin Jackson becomes the next Jeff Ogden or something, you can't. It's a crapshoot, and it's great that the Dolphins were able to make 11 draft picks and pick up another 6th rounder for next year from the Seattle Seahawks by trading that 7th round pick this year. We ended up making into a 6th round pick next year. So now we have even more picks for next season. This is not supposed to be a 1 year. We tank one season and next year we're going to the Super Bowl. No, that's if you think that, then you're wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And me as a blind and a cocky ass Dolphin fan, I can see that we're going to compete, but we're definitely not at the Chiefs level yet. We're not there to compete with San Fran. We're not there to compete with the top, with the elite. We're here to compete for the AFC East crown. If we can sneak into the playoffs, we'll take it. But we're not there yet. We're getting there. We're on the right path. We have Flores, we have Greer, we have our quarterback. Now we're on the right path. It just takes a little time. It takes a little patience. And I hate to say that we have to wait a little bit more, but this is what we're in for. And I like where the team is going. And I honestly, I think Vegas has us at 6 wins next year. I would bet the over. I think we're gonna win way more than 6 games. And I really think that we're gonna be there with the Buffalo Bills competing for the AFC East. But if we win it, we win it. We're playing with house money right now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, playing with house money. It's definitely a process. I always said that this draft and the next draft is the key for the next 8+ years for the Dolphins. This is the key. They got one down this year, which they knocked it out of the park. And next year, if they can hit it out of the park again with the remaining positions or the remaining needs, then that team is going to be set up for the next 5+ years, however long these players stay. Before we end, what player, not on the Dolphins, not drafted by the Dolphins, what player fell in the draft that you're like, how is he still there? What player fell that you were surprised that fell the way they did?
So Josh Jones was one player that I was surprised he fell past the 2nd round. I know that's one player I was looking at that was just pretty shocking to me. Honestly, I think a lot of players were taken early. As a Canes fan, did you think DJ Dallas and Quarterman were going to be taken in the 4th round?
Yeah.
That was my opinion. Honestly, I think a lot of players were taken early. There's not, besides Josh Jones, I can't really be like, oh, I thought this player was on too long.
I'm going to go with the player I mentioned earlier about the Jets, Bryce Hall. Him dropping to the 5th round was, and I kept texting him like, Hall. I'm like, how is nobody picking up Hall? I mean, he was a 1st round talent. He was, he got hurt during the Miami game this past season, and he was first team All ACC, so forth and so on. I mean, he had 1st round grades. He was like a mid to late round 1st round. He goes all the way to the 5th round because of injuries and whatnot. I mean, these teams know.
He's another thing with the not being able to get in contact. With the whole COVID-19,
Yeah.
weren't able to touch him. You weren't able to see him. Obviously, he was a great talent. He wasn't an elite talent like Tua was, that we were able to risk the number 5 pick on him. But like now the Jets may have gotten a 10-year starter, because of COVID.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
What player was taken in the first round? Let's just say first round. What player, what team made a move that really made you scratch your head and be like, what are they doing?
So I can't say Jordan Love because I chose him in our mock draft to go exactly to the Packers. But I thought he was going to reach the 30. The Packers actually traded up to get him. So a little kudos to me. Hey, a little Mel Kiper, watch out. The Falcons. I know they wanted a corner. But I thought they would go defensive line. To be honest, I thought they would have want Clayson. Clayson was there. He's available. He's an animal to me. They went with a guy who was mocked to go in the second round, in the Clemson Terrell. So that was a little bit shocking there for me. I can't, I told you before, the guy Murray from Oklahoma. I'm not surprised that the Chargers traded up. I know in your mock you had the Chargers taking Derrick Brown, but even Murray, that makes even more sense for the Chargers, because now you're talking about you have Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Murray at linebacker. I think they still have Thomas Davis. They still have Denzel Perryman. You got Derwin James, now Chris Clark. Like that, and that's a team that can now defensively try to keep up with Kansas City. So, I mean, I'm glad. That's a player that's a team that might stand out. They can fix their whole quarterback situation. That's a team that could be a problem in the AFC.
I actually have a surprise and a shock. I was surprised Atlanta drafted AJ Terrell, like you said. I was really surprised they drafted him that high, and I was like, out of everybody that was available, I'm like, in my opinion, that was a heck of a reach. That was a big time reach on their end. He may turn out to be a very good starter for the next 5+ years. We don't know. I mean, we're judging it based on now, but that was a bit of a head scratcher there. The shock that I had, and I think it may have shocked a lot of people, was Kansas City drafting the running back, not Taylor, not DeAndre Swift, but going with the running back out of the shoe. And it kind of like, they had their own rankings. So that was a bit of a shock. We're like, whoa. I mean, running back was mocked to them in a lot of mocks, but not him.
Well, you heard what Andy Reid said afterwards. He said he reminds him of Westbrook.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
And Westbrook is his boy. So if we're going to talk a little bit of fantasy, he might be somebody you want to look at. Any running back who plays for Andy Reid is going to be successful. And like, if this guy's comparing him to one of his greats, which was Westbrook when he was with the Eagles, I mean, you got to pay attention to that when it comes to fantasy wise.
Got him for 5 years. So, all right. So we're going to end with this. We're going to end with your prediction for the Dolphins this coming season. What record? Go.
Ugh. Record-wise, I'll say we get 9 wins next year. Wow. This is without looking at our teams. I know we play the AFC West. I know. Damn, I can't think of what NFC teams we play next year. But for sure, I know we played the NFC East this year, so it can't be the NFC South. We played them a couple of years back. It'll come to me, though. But I honestly, this is a 9-win team. This is a team that can compete to win the AFC East. We can win the division. We can compete now with the Bills. We can compete now with the Jets. We've obviously competed with a better Patriots team and won in Foxborough. The team that we have now is solid. Yes, they're not flashy. They're not. They don't. But we're building it with young guys, young big guys that fit the system that the coaches and the GM want. We have the players now that are fitting the system. It's a matter of them going out there on Sundays, executing. And I truly believe that our team is at least a 9-win.
All right. Well, I mean, they won 5 games last year. with that particular team going through what they were going through. And they could definitely win 2 to 3 more. There's definitely 2 to 3 more wins they could get out of there. Is 9 wins possible? Sure. I mean, things happen in the NFL from one year to the next. Vegas has them at 6. I would bet the over. I would think 7, maybe 8 and 8. I think 7 and 9, 8 and 8 is a good year for the team, and that would be a success given where this team is right now, and as it develops and it keeps going. So going from 5 wins to 7, 8. If they get 9, Flores is coach of the year type of thing. So we're gonna go ahead and end with that. I really appreciate it, Fernando, for joining me on Untamed Opinions. I hope you like what you see. If you have any comments, put them down below. Always respond to them. Subscribe, and we'll see you again in another video, man.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, I look forward to talking to you again, Dan.
We're going to do this again about the Dolphins, about the Canes. We're going to do this again.
Let's do it, baby.
All right, dale.
All right, bro.